When you put the pressure of the spinal fluid on the pineal gland, it sparks. But it's so amazing because it allows you to reach higher levels of dimensions and consciousness. When you tap into that, you bring awareness to it, your intuition skyrockets. The fluoride converts into fluorine and becomes 10 times more toxic for the body. It's a neurotoxin at that point. One of the biggest things you can do to detox your pineal gland is the pineal gland is this little tiny pea-shaped object inside, deep inside the brain. In most cases, a lot of people represent it up here as the third eye, but in true reality, it's not in the front. It's way deep in the center of the brain. It's been known since deep antiquity, super ancient times, which makes you question how in the world did they know that this thing was an eye? In other words, it has photoreceptors. Now, you would have to be able to, first of all, do an autopsy on somebody, take it out, and then analyze it to see what capabilities it even has. So they had some technology, I'm just saying. But they knew that this thing had the capability of receiving photons and light waves and then channeling it throughout the body, which is pretty interesting. Also, the third eye, it has these hairs on it, which are like receiving antennas, because it's your spiritual antenna. It's your connection to the higher dimensions that exist. We know that this universe has 11 dimensions based on string theory. And what's interesting, in 2022, a new scientific study came out. They just discovered that the human mind can exist and perceive up to 11 dimensions, the same amount as the universe. So we now know that our mind is a fractal of the whole, and this is peer-reviewed quantum physics. So it's not like off the top of my dome, right? But that has primarily to do with the third eye. It's also made of crystals. There's crystal in there, and crystals have an amazing power. When you put pressure on a crystal, it releases energy. That's what's inside of a lighter. If you have a big lighter, when you spark the lighter, that's not a flint in there or some type of Kindle. That's actually a crystal inside the big lighter. You put pressure on it, it sparks. When you put the pressure of the spinal fluid on the pineal gland, it sparks. So you can actually transmit, you can push the fluid up your spine into that area and put pressure, it'll spark. When it sparks, it releases DMT. And through breath work, you can create the same experience as taking ayahuasca, which is why I'm a big believer in breathwork meditations. You can have your own DMT. You don't have to take it from a plant and have somebody out in the jungle somewhere. You don't even know if they're going to take advantage of you, because it's happened to a lot of people. You can do it in the privacy of your own home, watching a breathwork video with a guided meditation, and you can trigger the same exact response through a breathwork meditation as taking ayahuasca. But it's so amazing because it allows you to reach higher levels of dimensions and consciousness within your same body. And it's just really gives you a perception that you normally wouldn't have. When you tap into understanding how the third eye works, it's almost like waves of water crash on you when you're in the ocean if you're just standing still. So the average person is like a person standing in the ocean with the wave crashing over them. And when the wave crashes, that's when they realize, oh, this moment just happened. But when you're operating from your third eye, you're surfing on the wave. So you're closer to real-time information, because scientists discovered that there's a 7 to 8 second delay in between the time that something happens and the time that we realize it happens. They did this amazing scientific study where they put people in different rooms, dark rooms with TVs, and electrodes of EEG connected to their brain, connected to computers. Originally, this experiment was simply to do one thing and one thing only: see what the brain looked like based on certain emotions. So every 10 seconds, they would show a different image: a woman coddling a baby, a bed of flowers, somebody getting murdered, a car accident. So it was flipping back and forth between tragic and peace. What started happening in every case study is this: the brain started transmitting to the computer 7 to 8 seconds ahead of time what the next image was going to be. And they realized something. Wait a minute. The brain has already experienced, consciousness has already experienced what's happening. It took us in this corporeal body 7 to 8 seconds to actually realize it for it to be now current time. So they realized there's this delay between information that exists and the human body processing it, and it being us being made aware of it. So everything that we see going on around us is 7 to 8 seconds delayed, unless you're moving from the third eye, the pineal gland. When you tap into that, you bring awareness to it, your intuition skyrockets, and intuition turns you into a surfer. versus a person that's standing in the ocean waiting for the wave to crash over them.
What are a few ways we can detox our pineal gland?
The first thing is your water. You must drink unfluoridated water. Your water, most water, especially tap water, has fluoride in it. You go to a restaurant, you say, I'll have a glass of water. That's fluoridated water. Everywhere you go, they're giving you that fluoridated water. Some bottled waters also have fluoride in them, so you have to be careful what bottled waters you get. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 is great, and Mountain is great. Those two. Fiji is also pretty good. So those are the top 3 bottled waters that I drink. The first 2 I named, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 and Mountain, come in glass bottles, which I love because you get away from plastic that way. Fiji, unfortunately, does come in plastic, but you want to make sure you don't leave your bottled water in your car in a hot summer. When you leave bottled water in a car or somewhere where it's hot, the BPAs, which is petroleum, leach from the plastic into the water, and then you drink the water. And they did studies, extensive studies on this now. It's been now mainstream news that drinking bottled water stored in your hot car will give you cancer. So you think you're doing something healthy and you're still killing yourself. So get away from the fluoride and get a water filtration system for your house. If you can't afford that, try to at least get a filtration system for each faucet. One for your shower head and one for your drinking water if you're not buying bottled water. Because when you take a shower, your skin is an organ, is taking in about 40 to 50% of whatever's in that water. So we know that in the water is fluoride, pharmaceuticals, now high levels of pharmaceuticals, and other toxins, including microplastics. So when you go and take a shower, you now put all that on your body, and then you come out of the shower, and a few minutes later, you start to feel weird. Why? It's because you've just poisoned yourself with pharmaceuticals. It's absorbed into the body, into the bloodstream, and now you've just given yourself, everyone's in the neighborhood's prescription medication. And then you can't boil water. Don't boil your water. Some people try to shortcut boiling water. Boiling water is worse than drinking the tap water, because if you remember from chemistry class, some people probably didn't study this, but when you boil water with fluoride in it, the fluoride converts into fluorine and becomes 10 times more toxic for the body. It's a neurotoxin at that point because the molecules shift. Like people like to cook with water from the sink. For some reason, they don't make the connection. If I put this water from the tap, I'm cooking it, it's going to be boiling. That's going to make it better anyway. What they're doing is they're making a toxic soup. So you don't want to like put your spaghetti in a pot of water from your sink and boil it. You just created fluorine, and now you're boiling your spaghetti in fluorine. No good. Brain toxin. You want to look for filters that filter out fluoride and pharmaceuticals and bacteria and viruses. Those will be a little bit more expensive than just the basic filter, but it's worth it to make sure that you're putting in, your body is made of 70 to 80% water. So you want to be putting in clean, fresh water into the body to rejuvenate your cells and your mitochondria. And so one of the biggest things you can do to detox your pineal gland is just drinking a lot of fresh, clean water that's not fluoridated, that's not toxic. And, and then the other way is to eat clean. Don't eat a lot of processed foods, get exercise, and meditation is another great way to keep the pineal gland activated, specifically breathwork meditations. I have a lot of breathwork meditation. I think I have three 2-hour breathwork meditations on Forbidden Knowledge TV that people can go and watch.
Please engage with this video by liking, commenting, and sharing. Subscribe to stay updated. For more amazing content, check out our next video.